I'm very privileged to have, two wonderful, successful entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs with me. And I have known both of them for a long time. And it's been really great to see both of you grow through some really tough times. So maybe, and tough time in the sense the winter is beginning now. I think what Abha told me is that I think a lot of entrepreneurs here want to know about, how's the fundraising journey, etc. So why don't you take a minute, I'll really count in a minute, to explain like your business and when you started to get the context going. So maybe you can start.
All right.
First. Yeah.
So thank you. I'm building what I call women's internet. I call myself Children of Indian Internet, built my first company in 99, and that sort of gave me an idea that internet's going to grow. And unfortunately, gender gap has also. So we started building communities for women, taking a lot of inspiration from the offline success of microfinance and cooperative movement, but digital communities, and here we are. A lot of our fundraising journey has been, let me sum it up to say, it's always winter in Siberia. So funding winter or no funding winter, I think women are still getting 3% of all fundraising. So we maneuvered our journey in two ways. One, we kept the mission at top of it. And we ended up raising a lot of one, non-dilutive capital and also a lot of alternate capital. So for founders in the room, there are many sources of capital. Venture is one of them. So I think venture is not always the best funder of your business if your business is not venture. So we came in a market where product market fit was hard because market was small. 10 million women were online when we started. Today that market has become 300 million women online, and Mishos have happened and other things have happened. So we're in a very rich market today. Today we are raising with much more aggression. We're raising bigger, we're raising faster, but in our initial days, we were very conservative about raising capital and who we were raising from.
Stop you there and then get more questions.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Swati.
Okay, so I'll keep it to background in business and then fundraising we can talk about when you ask me. So I grew up in a small town called Ambala. I got a scholarship to study in Singapore for my A-levels, a scholarship to London School of Economics, did mathematics, economics, started work at Goldman Sachs in London, investment banking. So very, very used to male-dominated environments, not that it has ever bothered me. And after that, me and my husband Rohan, we started our business in the UK. That's when we raised our first angel round, which was about 5 crores. Then we moved to India, we raised our Series A, which was CashKaro Capital, that was about 25 crores. Then 2 years back, we did our Series B, Korea Investment Partners. So we've raised about 105 crores so far. And our moat is really that we are I don't know if I've said it, but I'm the co-founder of CashKaro. That's what my company is called. And we are a performance marketing channel. So we work with all e-commerce sites in India, driving users and transactions to them. And when you shop via CashKaro, you get cashback coupons, price comparison, brand discovery. So it's a way to save money on your online shopping for users, and for brands, we are the cheapest source of customer acquisition. So with that basis is what we've raised our money on.
Thank you. And when did you start the business?
About 8 years ago.
2000.
Winter, summer, sari season aa gaya uske
Okay.
andar.
And you started in
We started in 2014.
2014.
Yeah, 7 years ago, and launched a new company last year.
So 2015, 2017. So almost similar time. Similar time.
Yeah, Sairee and I have known each other for a long time. Yeah.
Okay. So I just want you guys to, because I think there are a lot of young entrepreneurs here. So not where you are now, but like where you started. And it was very different, like you said. The market has evolved quite a bit since then. I'm just talking about tech market. But if you take a step back, and again a minute, in terms of, how did you approach the investors? Like the first set of people, I'm talking not even like, the day zero. Like when you thought about raising money, and who were the first set of people you went to?
Look, the first set of people are always in your phone book. It doesn't matter who you are, they're always in your phone book. So open that. I opened mine. My first investor was Vijay Shekhar, who I've known since 99 actually.
Rich man.
Now a rich man.
Okay.
So my first set of angels were all founders. And founder capital, by the way, I persuade everyone to go raise more for founders. They've been where you are today. Their capital comes with a lot of help. So Vijay Shekhar, Deep Kalra, Bini Bansal, Mekin Maheshwari, Sahil Barua, Pankaj Chadda. So all founders
So
on
you're
day
saying
one.
first founders.
Yes.
Okay. Swati, what about you?
So
The
for
first
me,
set
first
of
set
people.
of founders were
Not founders, the
sorry.
first set of people you reached out
Yes,
for.
were actually not founders because I came from Goldman Sachs, right? So I had no network in London. So I just emailed people from my Goldman network, and we thought that we'll raise about 3 crores, so about $300,000. And I sent out an email today to like 10, 15 people. I thought about that email for maybe 4 days. I was like, bhejo ki nahi, acha nahi lagega, friends karenge, family, what will they say, whatever. Then I said, just do it. So I just sent the email out, and then I went in 48 hours, I went from literally back-to-back meetings, and we closed $750,000 against a target of 300K. And then, when people were offering money, we kept on saying yes, yes. Then in the end, I was like, wait, every yes means more dilution. So think about it. Do I really need so much right now? And I think at that point, we said, okay, no more after 750. But it was good that we raised because that helped us, build that competitive advantage and build out our business in India.
Awesome. And when did you decide then from there to, okay, now my business has evolved? And by the way, what was like Vijay is, great guy, and you got money from him. So was he useful in your, thinking, in your, thought process? And then when you decided to get to Series A,
So we raised our Series A 2 years later. We built the product, launched it, got to our first revenue, and then we went and raised a Series A from venture. And Loomis Partners is one of our funds. There's 500 startups back in the day. So bunch of folks around the ecosystem who came in. And I think taking the founder capital was useful in 2 ways. I think the company's undergone many transitions. The market expanded. We made 7 acquisitions in the process.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and we didn't raise a lot of capital because we were still very conservative about saying our runway needs to be longer. This company has a long way to go. So in our lifetime, we've raised about $8 million for SHEROES, and now we've raised another 5 for the neobank that I'm building. But essentially, the founders came in handy in times of trouble.
Okay.
Which lawyer to talk to. I'm acquiring this company. Can you?
He's the one.
Yeah. So a lot of that, and I think that is very precious. And of course, I think once you take venture, that playbook is so set, right? Like there is not a lot of room for creativity, both for founders and for
Which venture fund did you hate it?
So we funded by a fund called MDIF and Loomis Partners.
I'm saying you must have gone to many venture funds. Was there one?
Actually, no.
Okay.
We didn't go to a lot. We purposely didn't go to a lot of large-scale commercial funds.
Okay.
Because we knew we were a mission-centric company, so we wanted to stay the course and align investors to say, dude, do you see next 10 years? Like, are you okay if we don't raise the next round? Are you okay if this market takes 10 years coming?
Yeah.
So it was a slow burn, and it was very intentfully so.
Very cool. Swati, same thing for you. When did you realize that you want to raise Series A? And you moved from London to India, so must be a big change. Like, how did you navigate your way through? Finding investors for the friends. I mean, you're Indian, of course, but
of course. One of my learnings is that fundraising is not the answer for everything. Sometimes, we haven't even figured out our business model, and हमें लगता है fundraising हो जाएगी तो business बढ़ जाएगा. But I think the right time to take fundraising is when you have a small business where unit metrics are working and you know that this is my supply, this is my demand, this is my cost, this is how much my profit will come. But in order for this to happen, I need team, I need marketing, I need, to do some investment in trying to get to that point. That's when one should raise funding. If that initial stuff is not clear, then just trying to get into the fundraising cycle, uska koi point nahi hai, because fundraising is a very time consuming exercise. It is not half as exciting as it looks, and it's not half as sexy also, and therefore it has become that very often we think that businesses ka objective hi fundraising hai, wo nahi hai. That's why very often we see, right, there are businesses that raise so much money but don't do well because the basics were not really thought through, and somehow in herd mentality the money came, but we never really spent enough time to iron out things at the ground level as well. So we tried to, therefore, it's always easier for me to say all this, but as we go through our own journeys, we know that it's not so simple.
Yeah.
So we try to, at every point, strike a balance between when is it that, we are trying to spoil ourselves by raising money and not having an eye on unit economics, and where is it that, we know that, okay, if we
our unit metrics are sorted, and if we get more money, we can scale more. So we always try to find that balance, and therefore we could do more. Like last year, we increased our revenues from 100 crores to 225 crores. So we grew more than 100%, but our loss actually stayed the same at 8 crores per year. So we were able to double our revenues last year without increasing our loss. And that is not because we raised more money, it's because we said, okay, what can we do with that money to drive that efficiency?
That's really good. I mean, that requires...
Thank you.
I totally agree. I think you don't have to just go raise because you have to raise. I mean, make your business model work. Okay, so my last question to you, Swati, how do you, as a founder, I mean, if I was a founder, I would have killed 2-3 people by now because there's a lot of rejection, you know, and I think especially when you go to fundraise. And like coming back to the same question I asked her, like, which were some of the VCs you hated? If you don't want to mention their name, that's fine. But
to make the winter worse.
But like, how do you take the rejection? I mean, that's one of the things you have to learn as a founder, because a lot of people will not understand what you're doing, and you know, you're faced with that. Like, why the hell is he not getting it?
You know, the thing is, of course, yes, we've all faced rejection, and I think we will continue to, right? But the kind of rejection that I really sometimes, you know, I try to say कि इस reason की वजह से मत reject करो. Okay, that reason is that people say, oh, but you know, why is there not another very large business in India doing cashback coupons, rewards? I'm like, but you know, in US there is, in China there is, in UK, everywhere there is multi-billion-dollar cashback sites. So in India we are the leaders. So if you back us, we can become that. So we are that market leader. Why are you asking me कि एक और कोई नहीं है? Because we've done a good job over the last few years. We managed to capture that market, you know. So that kind of reason always, you know, makes me think कि VCs are sometimes trying to follow herd mentality कि अगर इंडिया में 4 बड़े players आ गए इस सेक्टर में तो उसी सेक्टर में और बहुत पैसा आ जाएगा. But if we look at another sector which you are trying to grow and trying to do well, then you know it's always hard for those market leaders. So market leaders have the onus to not only establish their business. I mean, if you look at Rashi, Heads Up for Tails, there are not a lot of, you know, large pet businesses before they became large. Now it'll be easier for others to raise money because they'll be say, see, Haft also did it. But for Haft it wasn't hard because it was hard because they were the first ones, right? So that first one, you get that extra responsibility and extra fight that you have to do. But it's worth it because, you know, I always tell them that if we are the largest and if, you know, whoever raises money, likely that we should be the first to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, good point. Very good point. I think sometimes you have to create the category is what you're saying.
Yeah, to create the category.
And it takes time to understand.
And you're asking which VC I didn't like. I'll tell you one VC from the Gulf I didn't like. Because when I spoke with them, I'm not going to take any names, you figure that out. But when I spoke with him, he was just like, so, how many men do you have in your team? How many women do you have in your team? And I was like doing that call alone between me and my husband. I do the first calls. And then he was like, oh, so what does your husband look at? There was so much conversation about this that after that, you know, I told our banker, I don't want this VC. So you get me money from somewhere else. So I don't want his money.
Fair point.
So, yeah.
So coming back to this, I have a different question, but obviously linked. Like as a woman founder, and there were less women founders, I think in 2000 when you guys started actually, you know, few and far between, I would say. You and then Priyanka was there, and I think Alari funded a lot of, you know, credit to them. So was that a positive or a negative being a woman co-founder? Because in my view, I think it's positive. Just, you know, so like, and
I think the numbers are not saying so, Tej. We're still 3% of the entire venture fund.
It's growing,
and growing very slowly. Still, I think so, you know, going back to that question of rejections, I think it's in our case, it was a lot of self-selection. But I think when you're a woman founder at large, and I think some of us have broken out, and those stories are much deeper than probably this panel. We've broken out for many, many different reasons, like a whole world has conspired for us to sit here. But, you know, to quote Moneyball, Billie Jean here, that there are rich teams and there are poor teams and there's 50 feet of crap and then there is us. I think that pretty much sums up funding women founders in this country. We're still nowhere close to where we possibly should be. And I think that many layers of, this is a super privileged room. This is, I think, you know, the cream of the ecosystem. It's taken us a decade to get here, and we're still not unicorns, right? And I think like there are gaps in the ecosystem, and you know, for another day we'll chat about them.
Okay, but in your case, was it helpful?
Look, not at all. Actually, woman founder building this Mahila business, looks like an NGO, has a long-term vision, is selective about raising capital. Oh my God, like, stand aside.
Not a VC play,
Not
basically.
an-
Yeah.